first, I would like to thank the opportunity for being appointed as the governor of Western Bahr el Ghazal. And my thanks goes to my party members under the leadership of Dr. Riak Machar, and especially thanks to President Salva Kiir Mayardit for endorsing my appointment. And of course, a special thanks to my people of Western Bahr el Ghazal for accepting me as the governor and welcoming me with a huge celebration and wide arms. And it's really a pleasure to serve our people of Western Bahr el Ghazal. My being appointed as the governor, as a female governor, that this is for me is a gift for all the women of South Sudan, and we need to celebrate this achievement. It's not only my achievement, but it's the achievement of all the women of South Sudan. It is a challenging work, but without any challenge, then there is no work. So we are up to the challenge, and we are ready to face the challenges because there's so many opportunities out there. And we, as women, usually we are seen as we are not capable, but I believe we are capable, and we have a lot to give to our country as well. So we need to put our hands together with all the men and to work together. So it is a huge opportunity, and it is a moment that we as women can prove ourselves that we can also do. And we can even do better than men.
Right, and after the establishment of the cabinet, 5 advisors, and also members of different commissions, plus 3 county commissioners in your area, I understand, dominated by men, of course. But then, how do you feel about it? What preparations are there, or what preparations have you put in place as to how are you going to work in a collegial manner with all members of the cabinet, the yet to be appointed, let's say, members of the state legislature, and also the county commissioners and the different commissions in the state?
I think this time the system in South Sudan is going to be different. It's going to be a government of national unity, which has different political parties, and it is time for us to come together as people of South Sudan, as people of Western Bahr el Ghazal, to serve our country and to serve our people. And my message to everyone has been very clear, that we came through the tickets of our different political parties, but we have to show our love to our state, and we are here to serve the people. We are not here to serve personal interests. We are here to serve people together. So I encourage, and I've been talking with the members of the cabinet, that we need to put our hands together to serve our people, and it is up to us to do that. We have suffered a lot. Our women, children, and men suffered during this. We've been suffering for a long time, and it is our time to change. So we need to put our hands together for the betterment of our state. It's not for the interest of any individual. So it is up to us to show the love to our communities. Indeed, it is a government of national unity, and we have very talented individuals who are coming to serve in the government, and we have to ensure that we come as a unison. We have to put our hands together, and we put our ideas together. We come up with policies for the state that we are going to implement together. So it is a lot of work. It is challenging, and this transitional period of time is very short. We may not be able to accomplish a lot, but we need to put a strong foundation that we will that whoever comes after us will be carrying on that foundation. So we have a lot of work in front of us. In terms of the representation, I know each party has their own quota, so it is up to the party to bring their candidates. And we see that the representation of women may not have reached the 35% because each party has to bring their representation.
Including
but I'm
your
sure,
party, the SPLM-IO?
Including my party, the SPLM-IO, but we ensure that we
Does
have
that mean
reached.
there are not capable women in the SPLM-IO, for instance?
We have, for the SPLM-IO, we have reached the 35%. We even went further to make it 40% for the women's representation. But they are capable women in the different parties. But I'm also encouraging more women to join the political parties, because that is where we find opportunities to make our voices heard.
And that's why many people have been, or let's say observers have been saying, majority of women in the country are not interested in politics. I mean, they don't give attention to politics, and yet you find civil society organizations, observers, others as well, saying that women are being undermined and they're not being respected. But let me take you back, Honorable Governor. You earlier talked about we have to show love to our people, and particularly you're talking about people in Western Bahr el Ghazal state. The question is, why do people like you in the state? I mean, on social media and like all over the country, people have been talking about you, probably maybe because you're the only female governor. But then, given the fact that you are from the ticket of the SPLM-IO and majority of Western Bahr el Ghazal state is under the control of the government, and yet people still like Governor Sarah Cleto. What's the secret behind that?
I think that's a good question, and I really appreciate that the love of the people. And just going in wow, when I go around the town, I see people very happy coming out to greet me, young and old, boys and girls. It's really very encouraging. I think it's just being humble. I love everyone. I look at everyone as I see people as I see myself. I don't see any difference between our people. So my work is to ensure that there is connection, that we are all connected, we listen to one another, we respect one another, regardless of which party we come from, regardless of which tribe or religion or even our gender. And even boys and girls, there's no difference. We are one. So I present myself to my people as a normal person. I'm not different. When I go, I sit with the people under the tree. Whatever they eat, we eat together. And I'm there. I make myself available for everyone. And even my office is very open. My phone is open. If people call me, if you can't find me, I return your call. So it's just being humble. It's being humble, and it's being available there. Even if I can't do anything, we know there's so many challenges and the needs are so high. I'm not able to provide for each individual to ensure that they meet their expenses or their needs, but it's still the love is there. And I really appreciate it. I think this is what we need to build. We as South Sudanese, we need to show unconditional love, respect to one another, regardless of who we are.
So how do you put up with all these? Governor, I don't know. Have you been to hospital in your state? Did you go to the market and see how people are interacting and prices of commodities are being sold, whether they're skyrocketing prices of food commodities or not? Did you go to prison? And I mean, all these concerns being raised to you because you say you describe it as being humbled, but it also comes with challenges, as you mentioned. So how do you handle all these difficulties as the governor?
I had the opportunity to visit the different places that you mentioned. I've been to the hospital, to the prisons, I've been to the market, just to see how things are. I know there is abundance of products in the market, but sometimes the prices are high. People are not getting their salaries on time. But as people of South Sudan generally and Western Bahr el Ghazal, people are believers. They believe in God, and they put everything in the hands of God. And so God has been there watching, watching over our people. I know the prices of the commodities. This is not only in Western Bahr el Ghazal, but it is the general situation all over South Sudan. There is economic crisis, and with the COVID-19, there's even an impact. It's a global impact on the economy. And given that our currency is even very weak, it has impacted our economic status. In Western Bahr el Ghazal, usually because we get a lot of the commodities from outside. The roads are not accessible sometimes during the year, especially during the rainy season, and so you find that the prices of commodities go high because the dollar price has been rising. So there's some things that we cannot control. But we have been standing with the communities, encouraging everyone to cultivate. People are doing businesses, and there is actually a need to support entrepreneurships and to support women and young people, youth, to also be creative. That we are not only relying on salaries, but we need to find other ways of generating income. So we have opened up a space to dialogue, to talk about what we can do for our nation, for our people. It's not easy. We don't have until now. There is no budget that we can operate with. There's no development budget, but we partner with others. With business people, we have our implementing partners like the NGOs, organizations who are carrying a lot of activities. Of course, we talk with them and we share with them what we need to achieve in the state. And it is through this program, it's actually the government program that the implementing partners are helping us with the funds.
Right.
And we hope that in the coming, after the formation of the government, hopefully there will be enough budget that we can really go and embark into a lot of work.
Right. Interesting, Governor. If you look at the Revitalized Peace Agreement, Chapter 5, it talks about transitional justice, but then also it emphasizes on the process of reconciliation and healing in South Sudan. And now let's give a case study, or let's be more specific and go to your state, Western Bahr el Ghazal. I understand the peace agreement is talking about the broken social fabric among the communities, and this is a reality in Western Bahr el Ghazal, especially during the violence or the conflict. So what efforts have you exerted as the new governor in the area to ensure that becomes a practical activity, or let's say a practice among the communities there, to break down the social fabric and to bring together the communities because of the issue of reconciliation and healing and also forgiveness?
One of my priorities, the first thing that I did when I went to WOW, is to organize, to bring people together. We find that in WOW, for instance, you find that people are kind of separated, even in the neighborhoods, in the areas where they live. It's because it is imposed by the war. It's not that people choose to separate themselves, but it was imposed by the nature of the violence. And my first thing was to try to break these barriers. And when I went to WOW, I started visiting all the neighborhoods and just going there, meeting with people and listening to what their needs are.
I remember the fighting between the communities along Tonch and WOW, where you went, and you also talked about that. You're saying my mom is also from from Tonch.
That's right. That's right. And part of it, actually, my background is peace building and advocating for peace. So with that, I was able to navigate a lot of the system, and I visited areas, our controlled areas where our IO leadership or commanders are. We visited the areas, and the purpose is to break the barriers, to try to bring us together, that we are now one. There is peace. There is no more war. So the fact is that to try to start building trust between ourselves and to return or to reconstruct our social fabrics, and this will require also a lot of work. Like we have opened. The traditional dances, like every week there will be traditional dances. This is how to bring. I went once.
Did you dance?
I did not dance yet, but I will dance. We had some women from Kuch community. They visited in the and also from Bongo community. They visited in the office, and I danced with them. I like to dance.
You know how to dance.
And I know how to dance. Yeah. So I think that we need to do a lot of activities like these traditional dances, and sports also will bring us together. Because we wanted also to organize tournament between the neighborhoods. Well, we started it. I even started working with the Ministry of Sports. But you know, the challenge that we just face now is the budget. The budget for that. But the teams are ready. The youth are ready. Boys and girls, they're ready to play. And for me, for the sports, that will bring us together, because people from one neighborhood will go to support their players, to support their children, and then also from the other neighborhood. This is a way that we can start rebuilding our social fabrics.
Governor, when you talk about the budget, are you saying there are no any revenue collection in the state? I mean, apart from the national budget, the allocation for the states, what source of income do you have there in the state?
We do have the revenue collection, but it is not as much as people say it is, because I know WOW also is more. There's so many trucks that come into WOW. They bring products or goods into WOW, but there's some that are passing to go to other states. So it depends. We do have collections. And this is an area also that I have been focusing on, because we need to manage the collection, to manage it well, to ensure that the revenue is coming into the government account, and it's also going out to be equally distributed in terms of services.
Right. Governor, you earlier talked about your visit to areas controlled by your party, SPLM in opposition, but let's talk about the Masnabira cantonment site. We received a number of reports where women delivered inside the cantonment site, more than 50. Some of them are deserting the cantonment sites. I mean, yesterday we spoke to, this week we spoke to the governor, the Minister of Defense and Veteran Affairs, Angelina Teny, also reaffirmed the same thing. She confirmed that soldiers are deserting the cantonment site. So if we talk about the challenges facing soldiers in the training centers and cantonment sites are numerous. Talk about the food supplies, talk about medicine, shelter. They're not even receiving any amount of money to support their families. So how is the general situation of the training centers there, particularly Masnabira cantonment site as we speak, because of the head of the security in the area, the governor?
Yeah, that's a really good point. I know it has been challenging, and the issue is not only for the state, but it is a general national issue, given that the training was supposed to take a certain amount of time, and then the trainees will be graduated, but it took longer than expected, and it has impacted actually the presence of the troops in the training centers. Yeah, indeed, people have been deserting, and they've been coming back. I was able to visit Masnabira once when the Minister of Defense, Honorable Angelina Teny, visited. We went together, and we heard their concerns. And it's not only that, but I have always been contacted by the trainees from Masna about their needs. They need medicines and food. They come to WOW with complaints. Yeah, when we have been trying, if we are able to, we provide a small support here and there, but it's not enough. And I've also reached to authorities in Juba to support us to ensure that there is food items. And recently, there was some items that was brought that came through from the north through a wheel, and we were able to get some supply for the training centers. It is not enough, and I've been encouraging our people to just bear and be patient. It has taken longer than expected, and that has impacted so many. Like you said, we are women are giving birth and children are growing up there. It has become difficult, and in this I still go back to our leaders in terms of managing this training and graduating the forces as soon as possible.
Right. Honorable Governor, according to your reports, Western Bahr el Ghazal state is one of the states affected by conflicts, of course, with thousands of people displaced. But if you go back to February 2018, I understand it before your appointment, but then there's the UN mission revealed an allegation of sexual exploitation involving police personnel belonging to a Ghanaian police unit at the War Protection of Civilians side, that's under UNMISS. And when we had an interview with you, if you go back to July last year, you said security and also crimes related to gender-based violence were going to be your priority in the state. So where are we from that? Maybe give us a brief answer to that regarding the general security situation in the state, plus cases related to GBV in the area.
Yeah.
As being the female governor as well.
Yeah, generally I'd say the security situation in the state is normal, and I really appreciate that the work that we, together with the security committee members, are doing to ensure there is stability in the area. And this goes back to the Division 5 commander, the police commissioner, and also the national security and other organized forces that we are working together to ensure that there is security in the state. And the issue of the gender-based violence has been on top of my agenda, and I have been working very closely with the Director General of the Ministry of Gender in terms of addressing a number of the issues. We do a lot of awareness. Even during this time, we're having a number of radio talk show to raise awareness and to also encourage communities to support the women, because usually women and young girls are the victims. We would like to ensure that there is justice for girls, justice for women, and even boys are being they are being aware of their mistakes, and they are being also they need to change their mentality. So this requires a lot of work from us, and we have been doing that. One of the areas that we are also addressing is that because some women seek justice, but then they don't get their justice because culture comes in. People, traditional leaders come in and families come in, and they try to resolve the issue through the families. They don't like to go to the court, and sometimes even if there is a case in the court, it gets to some area, but then people come and pull out their girls because they say they will go and solve it.
So what do you think can be done about this, about the tradition?
We need to raise awareness. There are some harmful cultural practice that impacts our lives, and it impacts the lives of the girls, the women, because a lot of these behaviors, some of these things stays with the women for a lifetime, and it impacts also their mental health. People may not know, they may not see this, but we need to know that this, without justice, there will be a lot of mental health issues. So we need to address it. We need to make sure that women have the control of their own body, the control of their own, they have rights, they can address it, and they're also being considered as part of our communities, because sometimes when women women are always blamed if anything happens like this. It's always women. So I think we need to get justice for our women, and this has to be there needs to be a lot of awareness raising among our communities, and not only women, but men also should be involved. Men and young men, they should also be involved in talking about that and in protecting their daughters, protecting their sisters from harmful behaviors.
Right. And before we talk about the International Women's Day, Honorable Governor, maybe give us a summary of the current status of the implementation of the Revitalized Peace Agreement in your states from different chapters, particularly Chapter 1 of the Revitalized Peace Agreement. I understand the cabinet has already been in place, yet to be sworn in, and also the commissioners plus the commissions, advisors, but also the legislature is yet to be reconstituted in the states. Let's talk about also the general security arrangements in the Revitalized Peace Agreement, and also the part of humanitarian assistance and delivery of humanitarian assistance, because 8 organizations have been complaining of hindrance by authorities to reach to access some of the areas. So what is your general assessment on the current implementation of the Revitalized Peace Agreement, particularly in your state, Governor?
I think in our state, I mean, people have reached to a point that there is a point of no return. There is peace, and we have to protect our peace. We have to implement the peace agreement, and there's no return to war. Our people have suffered enough, and they have suffered a lot. So what we are, I know it has been slowly moving, but we are progressing well in terms of the implementation of the peace agreement. I think the next step is going also to be the graduation of the organized forces and unification of the army and all the organized forces. That one is also in the pipeline. It is, of course, moving very slow, but surely will be there. At this time, as I said, people are now really very strong about the peace, and they want to ensure that there is stability. We need our children to go back to schools. There is need that the services, health services, clean water, people who have been at the displaced camps, they returning to their homes, and there are many that still need to return. But people are there because last year most families were not able to cultivate. But with this year, I'm even going to start to lead our communities in terms of cultivation. We need to go.
So you know how to cultivate?
I do. I'm going to be cultivating, and I encourage everyone to come out and let's go and cultivate. And we want to rely on ourselves. We don't want to be relying on humanitarian support all the time, and sometimes even it's limited. So we have to go out and cultivate to feed ourselves, and also to be able to export our produce to generate income for ourselves. So we should rely on ourselves and not rely mostly on relief and humanitarian support all the time.
So when are you going to do that, the cultivation? When are you going to lead it?
I'm going to start right away.
Is it a kind of a campaign, or what is it?
We can do it as a campaign. But we're encouraging everyone to come out, and we are going to I'll be connecting with the FAO. The FAO has already given me some seeds for 100 families, so I'm going to be distributing that, and also encouraging people to come out and go and cultivate.
That's for this rainy season?
This for this year,
yeah. Honorable Governor, maybe let's talk about International Women's Day, but then before that, let's talk about you. Someone might be wondering, you earlier talked about your background, civil society as well. You've been an activist. So if someone is wondering, who is Governor Sarah Cleto, maybe take us through your background and tell us your educational background especially, and thereafter we can talk about the International Women's Day.
I think that's a good question, and usually it's not easy for me to talk about myself, but but I will try.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll try. I come from Golo tribe. I know so many South Sudanese. They say they don't know, they don't know Golo, but I am from Golo. My mother is Bongo. My father is Golo. My mother is an educator. She was even principal of schools in Juba, in Khartoum. And my father also served in the government. He was the first Secretary General of the High Executive Council during the time of Abel Alier, after the Addis Ababa Agreement.
Yes.
And so my parents put education really up front, and it is through their support that I was able to get my education. I started my education in Juba, in Mahad, Juba English School, and then I went to St. Joseph's, and then we moved to Yambio for 1 year, and then to Wow, where I started in my high school at Wow Day, and then we moved to Khartoum. But I then attended Juba University, College of Social and Economic Studies. After I finished my bachelor's degree, I went further studies in the American University in Cairo. I received master's degree in political science. And from there, I moved on.
So you wanted to become a politician since then, huh?
I have been an activist. I've been really very active since my high school. And I think during the first event where I took out to the street was in 1984 during the time of Intifada, when Nimeri was ousted afterwards. I was in that group. And then at the university, I was very active in the student bodies. I was also at the Juba University Southern Student Association. I held the office, the Secretary of Finance. But also I engaged, after that I became involved in so many movements, women's movements, youth, and also I started even creating my own organizations, and I founded a number of organizations.
What's the name of the organization, and what were you doing there?
I started there's an organization called African Women Empowerment Group.
In Juba here? Or?
That one was in the U.S. And where we came together with some other women from Zimbabwe, Congo, and Kenya. We formed the African Women Empowerment Group. I was also a member of the Sudanese Women Alliance that was in Egypt. In recent years, in 2012, I co-founded Global Partnership for Peace in South Sudan. And that one came after the incident in Wow in December of 2012, when there was an incident in Wow where young men were killed during a demonstration. And then the anger and the people made me come up and try to bring our communities together, because it was more kind of a political issue, but then it became more tribal. So the idea of a global partnership for peace was to bring our communities together, to how we can build our social fabric and how we can come together as South Sudanese to address issues like that. So I've been active in the public life, in the social life among women, and also as young as when I was younger. So all of these activities kind of helped me raise my voice and become part of the global movement for peace in South Sudan.
Right, very interesting story about you, Honorable Governor. And maybe that's, now you're the governor of Western Bahr el Ghazal state. Let's talk about the International Women's Day. It will be marked, or South Sudan will join the rest of the world to mark the day on Monday, the 8th of March. It's being observed by the United Nations every year. Share with us some of the challenges you face, Honorable Governor, as the governor of Western Bahr el Ghazal state, and a female governor, as a woman. What are those challenges are you facing in your office? And maybe how are you intending to overcome them? How do you overcome them, right?
Yeah. I think the main challenge for me is how can I serve my people? But usually, if there is no challenge, then there is no work, and I'd like to face the challenge head on. I think a number of the things there is a need to really be able to provide services. I think I need to focus in investing in education, because with education, if everyone is educated, they will not be relying on anyone. People will be self-reliant. So I would like to focus in education for our children. We find that there's some areas in Western Bahr el Ghazal, there are only primary schools, there are no secondary schools, and so many children are losing so much during the years. So the main financial challenge is one big thing. We need to have a budget that we can be able to use to provide the services that we need to provide. So this is an area where I find a lot of difficulty. There is so much need.
You mean the budget from the national government is not being allocated to say it's not going, or what?
Yeah, there is still no budget. So I'm hoping that maybe this is something that will be resolved after the government is formed. Yeah, because if we're not able to provide for our population, the problems.
So how is the state operating or functioning without budget? How are you surviving? Yeah.
God is great. So I say, yeah, we are surviving. We are able through small revenues here and there. We are able to solve problems of the state. I think security takes a lot of our budget, because we have to ensure that there is stability, that the forces are being supported and they are providing their services. So we see that the security takes a lot of our resources.
But if there is peace in the area, as you said, the security situation is calm, why does the security sector takes bulk, or let's say a lot of the budget, if the security situation is calm? Then why are they taking instead of services, for instance?
The situation is calm because we have been providing for the security for the forces to be able to spread around and ensure that there is calm in the state. So and it will take time. It will take time until it becomes natural. Because for me, I think security is not spreading the officers around the town with their guns to ensure there is security. I think security will be just natural calm. But this will come at a point when we achieve our peace. We are now at a stage of, let's say, a negative peace, but we want to move to a positive peace. That there's no longer the sound of guns, and the people are not even carrying guns, because there's so many people carrying guns still in their hands. Wow. So the security that we do, we ensure that we have the organized forces around the towns and in the counties to ensure that there is no any kind of problems arising. So that's why we have been spending a lot to ensure that those things are in places. But this is at a time when we're still moving slowly through the progress or the process of stability. Right. But we will get to a point that we may not need to spend so much.
Right. And finally, Honorable Governor, maybe let's talk about the International Women's Day. Your message as a female governor and a leader in the new unity government, and also emphasize on the theme for this year, women in leadership, and also the role of women during this time of COVID-19 around the world, and particularly South Sudan and in your area, in your state as well. So what is your overall message and your message rather to women outside there in South Sudan and young girls who are also looking at you as their role model and want to become leaders in the future? What would you tell them on this day?
Yeah, I first I want to congratulate all women and men for the International Women's Day, and this year is a special year, 2021, and we have accomplished a lot as women, and there is a lot still ahead of us to accomplish. We should celebrate our accomplishments. We should celebrate our female leaders, and for me, the leaders are everywhere. It's not only in the public offices, but we see the women entrepreneurs, the women who make tea, the mothers who are taking care of their children, and this is the time to celebrate all of them. And we have challenges. We need to put our hands together to face the challenges and address them together as women. We in terms of this year is a special time for us as women, that we need to come together. We have a lot of opportunities that we can give back to our countries. I know when we talked earlier about women in the public office, I am encouraging that our sisters join political parties, because this is where we can be able to make changes in policies. There are women who are in the civil society, and I think most of our women they join the civil society. They're working for organizations because the government is not able to support, especially when you see that women are not joining governments. Because even during my time, when I was looking to appoint director generals for the ministries, I reached out to several women. But then the women, I mean, I discussed with them the opportunities, but I see that a lot of them, they are reluctant because government jobs, they don't pay that much. And sometimes you see someone working for so many months and they don't get their salaries. So the women prefer to work for the NGOs because they get their salaries, they're taking care of their children. So it was hard for me to find women to come and take positions of director generals. But that's not all. I know sometimes women will say that, oh, the governor is a female, but her office is not, there are not so many women in her office. But I've been reaching out for women. But I just want to say that we don't only, it's not only through the government offices. There's so many ways that we can also serve our country. But I just want to highlight the area that why we find so few women in public offices. And I'm encouraging women to join the political parties as well. So we have a lot. We should not. We should stand with one another as women, and we should encourage one another to help us lift our country. It is our time to put our hands together with men and women and other leaders also to take our nation to the next step. So it is. We have a lot of work as women to do, and I think this time there is a lot of challenges. We have to face the challenge as people of South Sudan, and especially women. We have an important role to play. Women are the majority. I'd say that we, as women, we are the majority. We are the ones who, with our ballots, we brought our independence. So it is our chance. It's our chance to now take us to the next level.
Right. Honorable Sarah Cleto Rial, Governor of Western Bahr el Ghazal State, thank you very much for speaking to iRadio today.
Thank you very much, Emmanuel, and it's my pleasure once again.
Right. Well, and that was Honorable Sarah Cleto Rial, the Governor of Western Bahr el Ghazal State, speaking to us on a number of issues in the state, security situation in the area, Chapter 2 of the Revitalized Peace Agreement, especially the security arrangements, and also challenges facing soldiers at the cantonment sites in the area, particularly Masnabira. She also talked about the developmental projects in the state, and also challenges facing her as the only female governor in South Sudan, and also in her office in Western Bahr el Ghazal State in Wau in particular. And she also talked about the process of reconciliation and healing as enshrined in Chapter 5 of the Revitalized Peace Agreement, and also her message to young women there and women in general also to join the political parties. That was the end of this interview. My name is Emmanuel Joseph Akil, and I'm the host of the Dawn program on iRadio. Thank you for watching this. Bye for now.